Today on our Create Your News podcast, we're excited to welcome Dr. Joe Sutherland. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
This is going to be an exciting conversation. You are the director of the Center for AI Learning at Emory University. You're also a technology executive, educator, best-selling author as well, with a track record of driving AI, data, and cloud innovation for organizations ranging from startups to the big boys, Amazon and Cisco. And you also did a stint with the White House. You have a very interesting background. So today what we're going to do, dig into what businesses should really be doing to make AI work for them, especially in this era where we're seeing the search with Google change. We're seeing Claude, Gemini, you name it, Perplexity pop up. So Joe, thanks again for joining us today.
My pleasure.
I don't even know where to begin with you because we're just seeing a flood of these new AI companies pop up. What is your take on the state of AI right now?
I think we're in the early innings. There's so much innovation to be had. And the issue that I see right now is that there's a lot of people waiting on the sidelines who are really worried and don't want to get involved. The reason is I think because they feel like they don't understand it well enough to really have something worth saying. And the truth is that most of these technologies have been almost overhyped in a highly technical, futuristic way. And I don't know that that's really done the innovation economy a lot of favors. If I had my druthers about me, if I was, for example, maybe somebody who ran an AI center at a major university, what I would do is start a program that was interested in helping people relate to these technologies and use them applicably in their areas for whatever it might be. Be able to earn more because they can do more. One of the interesting things about artificial intelligence is that you can actually take care of all these tasks that before you wouldn't have ever gotten around to. And so it's not necessarily making your job any easier per se in this case, but it does let you deliver a higher quality product to your clients. I think that that's one big bucket of use cases. It also helps people save time. I think we do every week our grocery planning. And have you used the ChatGPT or any of these technologies?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing because I just throw in what's in my fridge. I say, give me a few recipes for the week, and boom, done. Right?
It's incredible.
That's an hour-long process of going back and forth with my wife and I, thinking, what do we want to cook? What are we going to eat? What do we have? Pulls it down to 5 minutes. And then I can actually get back to spending time with my little son who just turned 10 months old.
So do you take a picture of your fridge and then upload it to ChatGPT, or you actually?
We just pop it in. We'll give us some directions and say, look, actually we want to make sure there's a chicken dish this week, et cetera.
Small businesses where budgets, their data maturity might be a little bit limited. What are the realistic high impact use cases for AI for them today?
One of my favorite tools, and I'm not sponsored to say this, is this tool called N8N. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. No. It's kind of, have you heard of Zapier?
Yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like Zapier. I happen to like the utility and interface more in N8N because I feel like it was purpose-built in the AI era or the large language model era. And what you can do is pretty incredible from a workflow automation perspective, just as a non-coding user. If you get POs, and I was just talking to my wife about this. She works for a smaller beauty company that does a lot of direct e-commerce to get these POs. Usually somebody's got to go and take that email, got to process the PO. The PO is like, there's got an error in it. The number of cases they wanted doesn't convert correctly to the number of products that actually needed to be shipped, and et cetera. With N8N, you can go in, have it just read the email for you automatically. You don't even have to be there. It'd say, oh, this is a PO email. It extracts the data, it finds the error, the conversion that went wrong, it corrects it, and it puts it automatically into the order generation system, right? That to me, normally that process alone from a data entry perspective could have taken half an hour. And if you're paying somebody, $50 an hour, that's, could be $25, right? $25 is like a whole month's worth of subscription to this product.
Really?
N8N. N8N. It's pretty incredible because you can come up with any number of use cases and really quickly through just point and click, automate them.
What platforms is that the one that you're using right now for your own email?
So I don't use it on my own email, but I do use it a lot for research purposes. We actually have part of the benefit, I run this AI center at Emory, right?
Yeah, which we want to talk about.
Which we should talk about. And it is, I think it represents an unprecedented level of investment in artificial intelligence. It's a 9-figure center. That's my day job. What I get to tinker with at home, as an AI guy, is sometimes little apps. And so we recently, my wife and I have to collect, addresses for our holiday card every year. And we made an app using N8N that just texts all of our friends, says, hey, we got an address update for us.
Perfect. I normally get some of those texts
boom,
from my
boom,
friends.
boom. But the thing is, we don't have to sit there and do it. We used to spend hours texting all of our friends. We know this happened, and this just takes care of it. I just press a button and it collects the new addresses. And
Is that app on the Apple Store?
It's not on the Apple. No, this is just a custom software for our
gotcha.
Custom family
You could
software.
probably sell it.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someday.
Well, let's talk about the AI Center over at Emory. Tell us, how it all came about, what you're doing, how you're helping students and businesses and just the general public.
So the Artificial Intelligence Center at Emory, it is a little bit different from your quote-unquote run-of-the-mill AI center, even though that's kind of a weird way to put it. If you look at like a Georgia Tech, for example, Georgia Tech is really interested in building these more complex, robust language models, more GPUs, more compute power, more electricity. Let's make it bigger, better, faster, right? That's a really important task. What we're interested in at Emory, and we do our fair amount of innovation in the large language model space, but we're interested in using the best tools we've ever had as a society, these large language models and other types of tools, to solve the hardest problems.
Even on like Instagram, there's just like AI exhaustion. I can see that it's AI, and then you read the comments, and the comments are normally like, I can't believe how many people don't realize that this is AI generated. It's just flicking through it. People have 6 fingers. It doesn't look authentic.
Or the funnier one is, you get all these, the funniest ones I've seen are the door, like the Ring doorbell camera
like a
videos.
mountain lion jumps out.
Yeah, and a mountain lion, or actually my favorite is a bunch of bunny rabbits go out and start jumping on somebody's trampoline.
Yes. The Cat Olympics.
All this stuff, right?
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And so the preponderance of this, they call it AI slop. It's just kind of cruddy content, right? It's interesting. It's somewhat entertaining. Is ultimately going to create, I think, an opportunity for people like you in the business that you're in, and also the businesses that partner with people like you. Not to plug you, I know it's your own podcast. Sorry, but because there's so much crud out there, there's no real voice.
You see these avatars where they can clone you. Do you think that people are just going to get tired of that? Because you mentioned like authenticity, credibility, but now you can clone yourself, your voice, and then program it to say whatever you want. So what is your take?
There's a really great guy that I've seen online. He's a director, because there's been a conversation about AI-generated actors. Are they going to replace actors? And he basically runs the audition process with AI-generated avatars, as if they were actually auditioning for his movie. And it's comical because they're so bad.
They are bad.
He goes like, "Can you be angry?" And it's almost like it's almost as if you ask my toddler son to like express anger.
Yes.
It's just the raw, unfiltered, makes no sense. And of course it's that way because large language models and generative image models and all these other type, even JEPAs, which are a whole other thing you probably never even heard of, but it's kind of the next frontier. They don't have the lived experiences of humans to be able to draw on, to be, that made me feel that way. This is how I'd kind of, with the nuance, right? Here's the different, Christopher Walken used to give the director 2-3 takes, right? And then they could pick which one made the story the most compelling. So you look at AI avatars, I think what you're going to get is, it's kind of garbage in, garbage out, right? If you're given your content, sure, that's great, but you're not giving it your experiences, right? And those are two very different things. We haven't tested this yet. We're still getting around to kind of what the research design would be to actually reveal this. But my pet theory is that it's not high cost enough. I think what people really want is to be invested in, and they want to show that you paid to invest in them. And that could just be through a handshake and looking you in the eye. But it could also be through somebody knocking on your door. And I almost wonder if we've gotten too far away from the retail elements, of like relationship building because of the presence of these new technologies. And so that's my, if you take anything away from this podcast, I do think that that's probably the larger message, which is the people who invest in the relationship building in this era, in this era of vast amounts of cruddy, non-differentiated content and outreach and channels, I think that those are the people who are going to win.
Looking ahead 3 to 5 years for businesses doing the AI search, really focusing on that, what do you think that these businesses, nonprofits, will be doing differently come 2028? Like, where are we going to be in this marketing, messaging, just AI in general space?
I think it will have a lot more rapid iteration. So I could imagine a world where, let's say you have a need to just make people aware of, I'll give you a good example. I'm working with an organization called GEARS for early childhood education to try to think about how can we publicize and just make people aware of this best workplace for parents badge. And one of the first things that we did was we actually went to ChatGPT and we started giving it these personas of certain types of business owners who might want, they might want to actually recruit folks and retain them at a higher level. So was there a benefit to these businesses to have this best place for parents, badge? It's kind of like if you offer paid parental leave and, if you have a daycare on-prem and all the things that make it easier to be a parent and work. That's what we're trying to promote. If we feed all that to ChatGPT, you can have a conversation with ChatGPT first before you even go out and talk to a customer about, what types of questions should I be asking? What things are interesting to that type of business owner? On the flip side, for the people who would want to work at those employers, feed some information. I'm a 45-year-old person. I've got 3 kids. I have all these, constraints on my life, my time, and I got to do drop off. How would I get to work? Giving it that information, having that conversation, starts to generate really quickly the ideas that you need to actually go and run with. And I could foresee in the future that just being a standard part of the ideation process, right? The persona-based engineering, the conversations to generate the ideas, taking those ideas and fleshing them out a little bit more broadly. What are the frameworks that have traditionally been used? And then from there, going about the sort of more traditional, let's get the awareness going. Are we going to earn media, paid media, whatever it is? I can see that being just endemic to the process. Is that going to totally revolutionize the way that we go about it? I don't think so. Is it going to make it a lot higher quality? 100%. Is it going to make it faster? 100%. And that's where I see a lot of it.
Is there anything else you want to add that we didn't go over?
I see this new world as, really a huge opportunity. And I think if you're a business owner, too often you feel it's too complex to understand. I need to be a mathematician to go, which is 100% not true. I would say to those folks, just go use the technology. You'll see how easy it is to use. Number 2, I'm worried because it's going to be stealing my data. Again, there's ways to get around that. You don't have to go and use the free public service. You can use an air-gapped service, which prevents any of your data ever leaving the artifacts themselves. People are worried they're going to lose their critical thinking skills. That's kind of, it's almost like I'm going to become dumber for using these technologies. And I'd say, well, that's kind of a lazy way of thinking about it. Why would you ever not bet on your ability to remain sharp? There's other ways to remain sharp, and so on and so on and so on. I hear a lot of pushback, and that's a very natural process, but there are really logical and easy answers for a lot of these things. What I would rather see is a lot of small businesses start using these things sooner, because my ultimate worry is that there's going to be small businesses that use it, and there's going to be a bunch of small businesses that don't. And the ones that don't are going to get left behind. And I want everybody to get on it at the same time so nobody gets left behind.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Appreciate it.